Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tardis Zone. It's the night after, well, the day after Eve of the Daleks, and the OverNights have come in. And as I predicted, I said it last night. I said that this episode would not get a bounce because I believed that the last episode or the last couple of episodes of Doctor Who Flux would affect this, and that's exactly what happens. Even the Thasmin stands cannot save this shit show, right? And I'm going to be showing you a comment from a stupid idiot that I'm going to call out because I'm sick and tired of him saying it's not my doctor's faults. So because he does that and because he hasn't learned his lesson, I'm actually going to call him out later on. So I'm going to be showing you a screenshot of a tweet, and this is the problem. Fans like this guy that I'm going to show you are the problem, and the reason why this show is in dire straits, because they just will not actually accept the fact that this era of Doctor Who has failed. Jodie Whittaker's doctor, as a female doctor, has failed spectacularly, right? Even the Thasmin stands, because Chibnall been hinting the last couple of bleeding stories that Yaz might be in love with the doctor, and then last night she finally revealed that she fancied the doctor and she was in love with the doctor, right? Even they can't save this shit show. Everybody tuned in to watch The Masked Singer, as I said, would happen, and everybody dumped Doctor Who. Do you remember, do you all guys remember when the Daleks used to bring in millions of viewers? We used to watch a Dalek story in anticipation because the Daleks were returning. Well, you could bring Daleks back, and he's bringing the Sea Devils back. Sea Devils is not going to save this shit show, even if the design looks half decent. The Chibnall is not going to be able to save this. The general audience themselves have walked away, right? Doctor Who fans are not coming back. They're just not coming back. So 3.2 million in the OverNights. That is shocking. So I'll make a prediction now, and I'll say it probably add another, if it's 3.2 million, I reckon they'll add another 500,000 to 600,000 views. So you're probably looking at 3.7, 3.8 by the time the consolidated figures come in. I do not see this getting a big jump in 2 or 3 million views to bump it up. This is an absolute disaster, and there's so many people in this fandom in denial right now, and you really need to cop on before it's too late, because, you know, well, some people will argue it's already too late, but RTD is going to have some job on his hands. It's going to be harder than I even thought. And this man is a genius. And even I could see him struggling with this unless he ignores it, retcons it, or whatever. But it's an absolute disaster. 3.2 million. Read that to yourselves. 3.2 million for a New Year's special, which happened to be on a Saturday night as well. And I actually said the other day, oh, this is the first time that we're getting Doctor Who on a Saturday night. Be very interesting to see how it'll do in the ratings. And I got the worst ratings. So all this talk from other fans out there that, you know, if the Jodie Whittaker era or the Chris Chibnall era was on a Saturday night, it would get more views. Well, I think we've already shown, because of last night, 3.2, that this shit show is not good enough. It's not good enough. Now, I've had the Thasmin stands at me for the last couple of hours and last night. And the one question I would ask you guys is this, right? One question I would ask is, because you're sending me little screenshots of photographs of Yaz looking at the doctor googly-eyed and all of that, right? So here's my question to you guys, right? In 3 series, right, and all of these specials that we've had, show me the evidence that backs up this so-called relationship between Yaz and the Doctor. Now, before you all start bringing up past Doctors, because this is what they've been doing to me. They've been bringing up the fact that the Doctors have been in relationships in the past, right? Right. Whether that's true or not, right, that's beside the point. We're not talking about other Doctors. We're talking about the current Doctor right now in this show, right, in this era. And in this era, has Chris Chibnall laid the groundwork, right, laid the backstory that justifies this relationship? And the answer would be a big no. You have no evidence, right? A throwaway line in Arachnids, right, and a throwaway line in the next couple of seasons is not good enough on, and that was Yaz's side of it, by the way, right? Where's the development on the Doctor's side? Where's the storylines or the evidence that backs up there might be a bit of something going on there that she might fancy Yaz? Show me the evidence. There is none. You have none. But you keep going back to past Doctors and about how they were with Rose and how Martha loved the Doctor and all. That's all. That's besides the point. We're talking about this era and this Doctor. And in this era and with this Doctor and with this companion, show me the evidence that backs up that these two can actually have a romantic relationship. Because there is no evidence. It's all in these our heads. It's all in these our little artwork, right? There is no evidence to back this up. And by the way, this is one of the reasons why the ratings of the show is also down, because Doctor Who fans and the British audience are not stupid. They could see what's going on here, right? It's baiting fans, and it's baiting a certain minority in this fandom. Now, they were all celebrating. They were all celebrating last night, right? That finally, and then people were coming out, oh, they're relieved that the Doctor and Yaz came out because I was this, that, and the other, and it made me come out and all of this. Shut the hell up. Just shut up. That's not what the show is supposed to be about. It's Doctor Bloody Who. It's a sci-fi show. It's a sci-fi show. It's not a bleeding romantic fucking, sex education show, right? It's a sci-fi show. So if you want all of that and you want someone to pander to you, go and watch shows like that, okay? Doctor Who's a sci-fi show, and you mightn't like what I'm saying, but that's the reality of the situation. Doctor Who's a sci-fi show. It's not a love-in nest show, right? It's not the Yaz and Doctor show, right? And someone just mentioned the double bed. Yeah, little things like that, throwing the double bed in the console room, we're all baiting fans, right? It's not actually character development. Where is the character development between Yaz and the Doctor that proves that there is actually something between those two? There is none. It's all Yaz right now. And even at that, it's very piss poor what Chris Chibnall has done, because he's given her a few throwaway lines here and there, right? And then apparently John Bishop says, well, I travelled with you for 4 years and I could see then that you loved the Doctor, right? We need to see that on screen, you fucking muppet. Chibnall, we need to see that on screen, right? If you're going to do this romantic relationship, you got to lay the groundwork. There is no foundation for this, so this all falls apart. And this is why the British public, this is why Doctor Who fans have turned their back on this show. He is pandering now, right? He knows that this show is not popular with the general audience and Doctor Who fans as a whole. So for his last few specials, he's decided, and especially near the end of Flux, he decided that he was going to pander to a small minority on Twitter in the Doctor Who fandom who aren't even fans, who I call fake fans, who are only interested in Thasmin. They don't care about the history of the show. They don't care about the legacy of the show. They don't care if there's proper character development or story development for this. Once those two kiss, all their dreams are made come true. And apparently they will actually kiss. And it won't be a romantic kiss, by the way. It'll be the Doctor kissing Yaz because she has to save her because of a weeping angel, apparently, right? So it won't be even a romantic kiss on the Doctor's end. yeah? Where all of these little stands will lap it up because they don't care that there is no substance to this relationship. Because I've noticed these stands, they're very fickle when it comes to relationships and all this. Because I'm telling you now, I read an article, not word of a lie, I read an article the other day. They said that syphilis cases in the UK were on the rise, right? Syphilis cases are on the rise in the UK. Well, listening to these stands and all, I can understand why, because they would bed hop, right? They don't know what a real relationship is. They don't know that, you know, there has to be solid foundations there, especially if you're going to do it, on screen, right? You need to develop that story. A throwaway line here and there is not going to do it. I'm more bothered about the lack of regeneration. She's not even going to she's going to regenerate, but you're not going to see who she's going to regenerate into, right? Because last night I read out a leak, right? And the leak that I read out, the guy had actually given information about Eve of the Daleks and he was spot on. Now, this leaker is actually saying that when Jodie regenerates in the centenary, right, the regeneration's going to start and then the script credits are going to roll in. You're not even going to see who she's going to regenerate into, apparently. All this is a pathetic ship from Chris Chibnall because he's pandering to the people that are actually lapping this rubbish up because he knows, as I said, that the British audience is not stupid, right? The British audience is not stupid. Doctor Who fans are certainly not stupid. They can see through this. They can see through this. And what's happening is that a lot of the media and the journalists out there are finally coming out and speaking up against it, right? But then, this is where I'm going to bring in this tweet. And I don't care, right? I'm not picking on this person because I know he'll go on Twitter now and he'll tell everybody that I'm picking on him. I'm not picking on him. I'm just showing this is what we have to deal with in this fandom and the denial from fans in this fandom. And again, I keep telling you, there's no such thing as a not my doctor. And if you keep bringing up not my doctors in association with fans that don't like this here, I'm going to keep calling you out, as I said. You've gotten away with it for too long now. And as I said, I'm not putting up with this bullshit in 2022, right? Hold on. Right. Now, as I said, I'm not picking on this person, but I'm just gonna show you. I'm just gonna show you the denial and the fact that these fans don't actually care that the show is in dire straits. And this person wants RTD to cast another female doctor because he doesn't want not my doctors. So I'll read it. Actually, I won't put it up on the screen. I'll just read it. So I won't tell you who it's from, actually. I won't, because I will get into trouble because he's a crybaby. But I'll call them out on Twitter anyway. So this person said, "This is why RTD should really cast a female doctor next. Otherwise, the show faces years of press. Not my doctors claiming a female doctor will never work and they should be left to a companion role. Just because you aren't a fan of one female doctor doesn't mean it's a failure." And it was in response to this comment, this article, and he screenshot a certain part of this article, and it says, "Whittaker showed tremendous pluck given she's been a dead woman walking for months. But unfortunately, the legacy of Chibnall's scripts is that her replacement almost certainly won't be female. We can possibly rule out Michaela Cole, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and Vivienne Westwood." And that's rubbed him up the wrong way. Listen, I will agree on one thing, right? I will agree on one thing, right? Just because Jodie got the role, you are right. it doesn't mean that RTD, whoever he's going to cast, should rule out a woman, right? But I'm going to tell you, as a fan that's been in the trenches for the last 5 years, having to deal with all of this nonsense, I could tell you now that if he casts another female doctor right now after this one, it's going to fail, right? Now, is there a possibility down the line when everything is settled down and this Whittaker era, Chibnall era is out of people's minds, and maybe under RTD, if he lays a bit of groundwork, and then down the future, say 20, 30 years time, could they bring in another female doctor? Maybe. But right now, if you're asking me, and by the way, I've been highly fucking correct on my predictions lately, so listen to me when I say this. If RTD casts another woman in the role, right, it doesn't matter who it is, and even though it's RTD, fans have had enough now, right? Fans have had enough, and the ratings have shown, and I don't care, someone actually tried to, someone says I was wrong about the ratings, and they tagged me with someone on Twitter, and then when I went in to see who they were tagging me on Twitter, it was a fella that has literally bullied me, Lee, and everybody else in this fandom. Why would I listen to a bully and a spinner like that, right? Here's the thing, as I said last night, right? And I'll say it again. So people are saying TV habits have changed, but the new rating system takes all that into account. So my question to all you fans who are saying that the show is doing great, right? Where's the audience then? Where is the audience? Right? So if the ratings take into account TV habits have changed, then why are the numbers still down? Why isn't Doctor Who getting 10 million in overnights? Seriously, explain it to me. If TV habits have just changed and the audience hasn't actually gone anywhere according to you, then where is the audience then? What, are you going to watch next year? The year after? When the era is over? Do you see what I'm trying to say? You need to stop being in denial, right? Because the only way we can move forward with this show and with RTD is if you guys come to the realization that this hasn't worked. And just because if you do come out and agree and say it hasn't worked, you aren't betraying Jodie Whittaker, by the way. Okay? Now, I know personally that it's not all Jodie Whittaker's fault, right? I've blamed her for a lot of stuff that I think she is responsible for, right? But the downfall of this show is firmly on Chris Chibnall's hands. Nobody will deny that. But he's got it so spectacularly wrong that I don't think RTD can afford to bring in another female doctor. And I think you need to open your eyes. Listen, he's claiming to love Doctor Who and he's our Doctor Who fans. I love Doctor Who, right? I get called fake fan and all of this, and I'm called this, that, and the other. I'm a Doctor Who fan. Like you, I want this show to succeed, right? And the only way I could see it succeeding now under RTD right now is if he brings in a male doctor for this regeneration. Now, am I ruling out a female doctor completely? If you had asked me 3-4 years ago, I would have said, yeah, right? My stance has softened a little bit. But in saying that, I still fundamentally believe that it is a male role. Now, if RTD was to cast a woman in the role, I wouldn't have the reaction that I had under Jodie Whittaker. I could tell you that for a fact, by the way, because I know RTD is a great writer. I know he's a great at character development. Yeah. So I would give it a go, but I still wouldn't be a fan of a female doctor. But for me, for Series 14, honestly, he has to go with a male doctor. And look, people mightn't like the fact that the media is out there saying that this era has failed, right? Unfortunately, it has, right? Unfortunately, it has. And you have to get with the program now. You have to get with the program. I'm not here giving out to you. I'm not here having a big fucking rant. I'm telling you now, you need to cop on, folks, before it's too late. We've got 2 more specials to go. And I can tell you now, right? I could tell you absolutely now, the Sea Devils are not going to rescue this. And now I can understand why he brought in the Sea Devils. Listen, I'm telling you now, right? Sea Devils were supposed to appear during this era way sooner before they did, right? I had spoke about the Sea Devils on this channel two years ago, right? Sea Devils were supposed to be in. Davros was supposed to be in this series as well. He cuts and chops a lot of things, right? So now we're getting the Sea Devils. But if you look at Doctor Who Flux as a whole, right, then you look at the Dalek special, and then he's bringing back the Sea Devils. I think he knew this was bad, and I think BBC knew it was bad. Really do. I really do. And and remember, this is the same guy who first took over the show that said he didn't like the old monsters. Now all of a sudden he's bringing Sea Devils back. He's brought Cybermen back. He's brought Daleks back. He's brought Jadoon back. He's brought all of these villains back that he said that he wasn't going to touch because he wanted to do something different. Right? Series 11, he did give us something different, but it failed. Now what did he do? Series 12, he went back to the tried and tested. Right? And ever since then, because Series 11 mortally wounded the show, in my opinion, he's been struggling on ever since. He's been struggling on ever since. It's such a fucking shame, right? Because I've openly said that I'm a fan of Chibnall's fucking Dalek specials, right? And I've gotten a lot of stick for that, right? And I've taken the stick because, you know, I can only be true and honest to myself. I like the other Dalek specials, right? But this one just fucking... Even the Dalek, I even said it last night in the watch along, Daleks don't talk that way. He turned them into stupid, silly fucking monsters, as someone said. The Daleks are supposed to be sinister. You know, even some of the lines, I can imagine that when Nick Briggs was talking in the mic doing the Dalek voice, some of those lines were supposed to be for comedic elements. The Dalek saying, trying to say something funny. It doesn't work, man. Look at the scene with the Cyberman and the Dalek in, what was it, Doomsday, wasn't it? Right? And look at that interaction, right? That was funny. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. If you want to make the Daleks and Cybermen comic, that's how you do it. Chris Chibnall is getting a lot of praise off the stands, off the Thasmin stands, but he's not getting praise off Doctor Who fans and the general audience. Hold on. And look, I'm not going to get into the whole thing about look, I've mentioned the relationship, but I don't want to get into politics or anything like that. I just want to just basically talk why I think it's failed. And I was pretty right with my prediction. Everybody on the panel was saying that, you know, even though they were kind of still a little bit doubtful, some people on the panel did actually think that it would get a bounce in the ratings. But I knew it wouldn't. I knew it wouldn't because Doctor Who Flux was so fucking bad, folks. It was so bad. Listen, I have to, something's just at the popping up there. Lee, you're in the chat, aren't you? Do you want to, if I send you an email, mate, do you want to come on and just continue this conversation? But I don't want you to get all political and stuff like that and talk about all of this other nonsense that's going on. But if you could just talk about the ratings, can you come on for me for a few minutes until I... because I have to do something's just had to popping up right now as I'm streaming. Let me know in the chat if you can. I know you're probably still a bit tired after last night, but it's only for a minute or two. Unless you guys don't mind waiting there at a blank screen for a minute and a half. Let me know. I have to go outside for a second. Damn, it's always when I'm streaming. Right, listen. Oh, she said send them the link. Oh, Jesus. Right, hold on. Actually, leave it because I can't. He's waiting on the bleeding stairs. He's at texting me there, man. Just wait. I'll be back. Yeah, buddy. He's here with me. You coming in? No? Okay, stay with my man. Right, sorry about that. It's just a neighbour down there. His auntie died on. His auntie died 2 days before New Year's Eve, and you know, been asking about him and his mum. So we're just at the scene him there now. Heart attack apparently. So yeah, poor guy and his mum, who we know very well. Yeah, they're both devastated. It was his mum's sister. So I seen his mum New Year's Eve. She looked devastated. Everybody else was singing and cheering Happy New Year, and she was down there, and I seen her as we were streaming, and she was walking by the window with her head down, and she just looked like she was devastated. So it's the first time I really got to talk to them. So that's why I just wanted to go down. So I'm sorry about that, folks. But you know yourself, it's always, especially in those times, you know, it's always nice to let your neighbours know that you're there for them if they need that, and you know. So yeah, but back to what we were saying. Actually, no, not yet. Again, obviously, Alpha. We haven't heard from Alpha Omega still. So again, I'll put an appeal out there. If anybody knows Alpha Omega personally, he lives in Philadelphia. If you want to know what he looks like, I've thrown 2 photographs up on Twitter, on my Twitter account. I haven't heard from him since the 9th of December. And the last time I spoke to him, he was fighting the Koof. So as you can gather, a lot of us who are friends and know Alpha are actually very, very worried about him right now. I'm actually, even talking about him, starting to get a little bit upset because I would hate to think that something's happened to him. You know, he lives alone, so we'll never know if You know, we never. That's the thing that's killing me, is it not known. And I'm kind of beating myself up, even though I shouldn't be, but I am. Maybe I should have asked him for his address and his name and his phone number, you know, so if anything like this happened, we could keep in contact with him. But you don't think that way, do you? So, Alf, if you're listening again, you know, mate, as I said, even read your messages. Even read your messages, man. You don't even have to reply. If I see that you've read your messages, then I know you're okay. I know that you're probably just taking time off. Yeah, because we miss you, man. We miss you, and we need you back. We need you back, because, you know, we're doing you a favor, watch alongs. So please, please, please get in contact with someone if you can, or if anybody knows him personally. If there's any way that you can try and communicate and see if there's anything, and give us some piece of information, that would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you. No, do you think they're leaving the regeneration open-ended because they don't want the forced female doctor regenerating back into a man? Says Purple Monster. Do you know what? I haven't thought of it that way, Purple Monster. But you could be onto something there, yeah. Or maybe it's because they're leaving it open-ended because if she was to regenerate into a man, obviously the other side, there would be a huge backlash, and then they'd start coming after us then, because it'd be their fault that they cast a man. So we can't win either way, you know. So it could be a possibility, Purple Monster. I'm not. You can't rule out now, especially with the way the series has gone now. But look, I was right in my prediction. I said that this special wouldn't get a bump, and it didn't, because, you know, doing series 11, 12, and 13, and doing these specials has made me into something of an expert, right? When it comes to the ratings and it comes to the way things go, I could see things before they even happen, and that's because I'm in the trenches, and because I really do study and look at everything that's going on and the trends and all of this. And all the evidence backs it up. The general audience have walked away. Doctor Who fans are walking away with every fucking episode. And the question has to be asked, why? Now, as I said to these Twitter stands and these Thasmin stands, right? And I'll say it to you again. Show me the evidence within 3 series that backs up this so-called relationship between Yaz and the Doctor. Now, as I said, forget about past Doctors. We're talking specifically about this Doctor and this companion, right? And with this Doctor and this companion, show me the evidence that backs up this so-called relationship, right? On Yaz's part, we've had a couple of throwaway lines, and then last night then she finally admitted to Dan that she liked the Doctor, right? And then we had a double bed in the middle of the TARDIS console room when the 4th episode starts. So if that's your evidence, right? If that is your evidence and that's good enough for you to develop a relationship between the Doctor and Yaz, well, then you're sorely mistaken, right? There has to be more meat on the bone. If you're going to do this, right? When you're building a building, right? If you build a building, right? And you build a building with no foundations, what happens? Falls apart and it collapses, right? That's why builders always build a foundation. So when they build on top of that foundation, it's rock solid. There is nothing rock solid about this relationship between Yaz and the Doctor, because it's not on solid foundations, because Chris Chibnall has not laid the necessary groundwork that is needed to show this relationship develop. Okay? And that's where I stand on it. This has nothing got to do, because I've been called lesbophobic and all of this. Now the usual names that you get called, right? And I actually have to give him a shout out, but Captain Cockney Spock actually defended me, and yeah, he yeah, I'll call you when he right. Captain Cockney Spock even can't jump to me defense, so I have to give him a shout out, fair play. And said, listen, I know Noel, and you're wrong. He's not this, that, and the other, and I'm not, right? The bottom line is, look, as I've said on this channel, and this is the thing, these kids don't watch me channel, but if you watch me channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of Captain Jack. I love Jenny and Vastra, right? Now, why do I love them? Well, Captain Jack, look at his development. Right? Look at his backstory. Right? The groundwork was laid. Look at Jenny and Vastra. Groundwork was laid for those two too. See, this is the thing that I have a problem with. Right? There is no groundwork for this relationship. Right? So if you're going to do it, look at me personally, I don't think the Doctor should be in a romantic relationship, even though RTD has skirted with it before with Rose, right? But the Doctor didn't actually end up with Rose. She ended up with the Metacrisis Doctor. He turned down Martha, and he made it clear to actually Donna Noble, and Donna made it clear to him that they were just mates, right? So there is no chemistry. Nothing there. So to all you fans out there that are saying that this is justified and that this relationship that we're not seeing, come in here now, because I know the 61 of you is watching. So I know some of you are stands, Thasmin stands. Do me a favor, have the decency to come into the chat right now and tell me why this relationship between Yaz and the Doctor is actually legit, right? And show me the evidence that backs up your claims that this relationship is legit. Sending me a screenshot of how the Doctor and Yaz are looking at each other is not evidence, right? You need more meat on the bone, as I said. If you're going to do something like that, you must develop the characters. You must put the story in place. It must be built on solid foundations. And this is why a lot of us are giving out. We're not giving out because we hate lesbians. We don't hate lesbians. And I don't know any person out there, personally, that hates lesbians. Or gay men, for that matter. Okay? I've surrounded myself around a great bunch of people. Right? I've never seen any homophobia or any sort of nonsense come from these people that I do have on my panels or in me chat. Never. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, because that would be wrong for me to say that. We know it exists. But it's certainly not happening in the Doctor Who fandom with the way these stands are trying to make it out. As I said, if you're going to do something major like this and put the Doctor or have the Doctor in a relationship with a companion, right, then you've got to lay that groundwork. Or else the British public or the viewing audience as a whole and Doctor Who fans are going to see right through it. And what's going to happen? They're going to turn off and watch something else. Now, while Doctor Who was on, the Masked Singer was also on at the same time, right? And I even said it last night. I says, watch. I says, people will probably tune into the first couple of minutes of the Daleks story. Then they'll realise it's a bore fest. And then they'll switch over to the Masked Singer. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what happened. Because 3.2, it's getting lower and lower, folks. I said it a year ago. I said, if this show goes under 3 million, and we're nearly there. I said, if this show goes under 3 million, we are really, really in serious trouble. And I'm telling you now, RTD is no miracle worker, right? He's a great writer. He's a great producer. He's great at character development. He's great at building up all these characters. But even I'm struggling to see how this man can fix this. This is Chris Chibnall giving 2 fingers to fans that haven't liked this era now. And as I said, he's leaving the show and he knows he's left, right? So he's decided that he's going to pander to the people that have been pushing this Thasmin agenda, right? Because he wants to be loved by someone out there, right? Because we certainly don't love him. We certainly can't stand him. So, you know, he needs to feel love. So he'll pander to them now. And trust me, this is going to continue now for the next couple of specials as well. But in fairness, if you were going to do this, this should have happened in Series 11. Properly, I mean. Not a throwaway line in Arachnids in the UK or anything like that. This should have been done in Series 11 and built up the foundations, and then by Series 12 then you could get Yaz to confess her love to the Doctor and the Doctor confess her love to Yaz, and then it would have been more real if the groundwork had been laid. But it didn't, right? And it wasn't, right? And this is why we have a problem with it. As I said, it's not got to do with us having a problem with lesbians or gays or acting like that, right? We've no problem with anybody in this fucking fandom, right? Or any minority group out there, right? What we want is we want these characters, if you're going to do it, we want them developed properly. We want them treated with respect, right? Because if you're going to do something like that, you've got a whole community out there that you have to be very careful with, right? You've got to be respectful to that community, right? You can't just shoehorn stuff in and say, there you go, there's your little baiting, there's your little hint that there might be a relationship. That's absolutely disgusting. It's disgusting. It doesn't matter about the timeless child now at this stage, to be honest with you, Lee. As I said last night off stream, I actually think this is worse. And the reason why it's worse is because he's being disrespectful to, I hate saying a group of people, because like you, Lee, I don't believe in groups, you know. I believe in the individual. But for argument's sake, he's pandering to a group of people, right? But he's not even doing it with any respect. He doesn't respect them. His writing proves he doesn't respect them. And that's why I'm actually surprised that these Thasmin stands are not actually seeing it for what it is. You need to come out and criticise. You need to come out and say, this is wrong, Chibs. You're doing it wrong. You've got this. It's got to be believable, folks. And it's not believable. It's not believable. It's absolutely shocking that Chris Chibnall has gotten away with this now for the last few years. No one respects them, not even themselves. Well, look, I saw something last night which kind of sums up today's society, Lee, right? So, as you know, Graham Norton's a gay man. And as you know, Graham Norton probably hosts the biggest show on BBC entertainment show. Whether you like him or not is beside the point, right? Graham Norton's on BBC. He's been given a golden handshake and all of that, and he has a show. Well, he had on Eddie Izzard. Now, everybody knows who Eddie Izzard is. Well, if you're from the UK and Ireland, you definitely know who Eddie Izzard is. Now, Eddie has come out and said that his pronouns are he, him, she, her, right? So, and he's also discussed how he dresses in women's clothes and all of that. That's beside the point, right? I don't care what you do, right? If you want to dress in women's clothes, that's brilliant. That's up to yourself. I'm not going to fucking have anything to say about that. It's your choice, right? But this is where society has gone, right? So, on the Graham Norton show, now, Eddie Izzard has made it clear that he's comfortable with the pronouns he, him, she, her, right? So Graham Norton is interviewing him and he calls him he. Right? He calls him he. Everybody's on Twitter trying to cancel Graham Norton right now. A gay man. So Lee, you are right. They'll eat their own. You know, if it doesn't fit their agenda, they'll eat their own. So poor Graham Norton, who, look, I like Graham Norton to a certain extent. He can be a bit of a dickhead and an asshole, but I do like him. He's an Irishman. We all have, you know, he's one of the few Irishmen that I'm actually delighted with that's actually made a career for himself over in England and's done so fucking well for himself. And I do like him. I have a soft spot for Graham Norton. But to see that they're going after this man because they're angry at him for calling Eddie Izzard he, even though Eddie Izzard has said that his pronouns are he, him, she, her. And he said he's comfortable with any of those terms being used when someone's talking to him. But because he used he specifically on his show, these people were trying to cancel Graham Norton, right? And then when you go and look, mate, and you go and look at most of these profiles that were trying to destroy him, they've all got their rainbow flags, their LGBTQ representation and all of this, and they all got their pronouns and all of this, and they're attacking a gay man and Graham Norton. That just goes to show you where this has all gone and where society is. They would literally, I can't stand Eddie Izzard myself, mate, but that's beside the point. You know what I mean? What the point I'm trying to make is that a gay man in fucking Graham Norton called him by his proper pronouns that he's comfortable with, but there was fake outrage out there from all of these, as you would call them, the rainbow right? Absolutely, but that's where we've gone in society. They literally eat their own because if it doesn't suit their narrative and their agenda, they will go after anybody. It's the same with John Barrowman, right? John Barrowman has been an ally for the LGBTQ plus community, but as soon as Noel Clarke threw him back under a bus, even though the incidents in question were already dealt with, right? What did they do? They all turned on John Barrowman. Right? An ally. And Graham Norton is also an ally. So, you know, as I said, they will literally eat their own babies and they will trample over anybody that stands in their way until they get what they want. And that's wrong. I've heard nothing about this Norton. Well, go on to Google and you'll see. Go on to Bleeding. He was trending on Twitter. It is a cult. You're absolutely right. It is a cult. There's no individuality anymore. You're either with the program, and if you're not with the program, you're discarded, you're cancelled, and you're basically, you know, shunned. And I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong. And, you know, as I said, you know, I think people in general are getting sick and tired of all of this. You know, it's just everybody get on with their lives. I just don't know why people just can't get on with their lives. Listen, if you want to identify as whatever you want to identify as, if you want to dress in women's clothes and or whatever, or you want to transition and change gender, go ahead, right? But don't be fucking making a song and dance about it. All right, everybody else gets on with their lives in the world, so you do the fucking same. But no, you want to change the way we behave to make yourselves feel more comfortable within society, and that's wrong. That's absolutely fundamentally wrong, right? We're not living in a fucking dictatorship here, right? Okay, everybody has free will and free choice. Nobody's ever denied that. Go and do what you want. If you want to identify as a fucking whatever, right? I see what furries or whatever, right? I've seen that shit go on. If you want to go crawl around on your fucking hands and knees and fucking act like a dog while your owner is bringing you all along on a leash, which I've seen on videos, so be it. But go and do it and leave everybody else the fuck alone. Seriously, man. Look, I'm gonna make sure that I have a good 2022, right? But I think society, I think society as a whole, 2022 is gonna be worse than 2021, unless, you know, there's a fight back from all of this, right? And people say, hang on, enough is a fucking enough here now, right? Just live your fucking lives, do whatever the fuck you want. But listen, the society is not being changed because you don't feel comfortable, right? Listen, whether you like it or not, life isn't easy, right? Life is like a deck of cards. You don't know what hand you're going to be dealt, right? And life can actually throw a lot of stuff at you. And life is hard, right? But it shows the true character of a person is when they're down in the dumps and they're able to brush themselves off, stand up and start again. Then they fall again, stand up and go again. That's what humans are good at doing. But when I look at society today, we've raised a bunch of pussies. We've raised a bunch of pussies. They complain about everything, right? If it's not, you misgendered me, I'll use me pronouns, and What? How did we raise a bunch of pussies? Seriously, how did we raise a bunch of pussies? I just can't get over it. I never thought I'd live in a society as this bad. Seriously, grew up, born in 1979, grew up in the 80s and the 90s. It was, even then we had our hard times, right? Wasn't easy, but everybody got on with their lives. Nobody was encroaching on other people's lives or whatever. And we just got on with it. We just got on with it. Do you know what disaster area? I used to say you can't blame social media on everything. But you know what? I think the worst thing that happens to society, and I hate to say this because I've met some wonderful people. There is an upside to social media, right? I've met some wonderful people all over the world because of social media. But I agree with you. Social media is the single worst thing to ever happen to society. Because since then, what's happened is it's given every little gobshite an opinion. The platform to have an opinion. Right? And that's the problem. There's too many dangerous people out there that are throwing stuff out in the media, throwing stuff out on social media. And they're the ones that are driving all of this. Exactly. The educational system doesn't help either, Lee. I mean, we grew up a time where teachers, like, you know, weren't afraid to fucking... They taught their students, actually. That's what teachers did. That's what teachers did when I was growing up. They actually wanted to teach us so we could improve ourselves as human beings and get out there into the big bad world and do them proud. I remember I met one of my teachers a few years back, and it was a great moment it was, because, you know, I was a bit of a messer in school, and they always said that I could achieve good things if I just put my mind to it. And then I met them a few years later, and I was a chef at the time, and everything was going well. And you should have seen the joy on their face when they seen that I'd finally made something of myself. That's what a teacher is all about, man. They're there to nurture students, to teach them, and, you know, because they've experienced life as well, can give a bit of their life experience. But I look at teachers now on TikTok, Yeah, TikTok. And they're there, and all they are propagandists. All they are, well, I'm going to teach your kids that there's 75 different genders. I'm going to teach your kids that it's okay to transition. I'm going to teach your kids that it's okay to do this, that, and the other. And I'm going to teach your kids that we should forgive pedophiles and all. Nobody talks about that though. All of that other stuff that happens, right, gets swept under the carpet, right? Nobody talks about when you see these videos and teachers are literally grooming kids. They're not teaching your kids. No wonder, right? If you look at the figures around the world, in each country, right, homeschooling the numbers have gone up. I wonder why. Because parents aren't fucking stupid. Parents aren't fucking stupid. They know their kids are being corrupted. And listen, I'm not saying that kids shouldn't or they shouldn't know about, you know, gay rights and all of that other stuff, right? Of course you can. But there's a way of going about it. But not the way these people are going about it. You even have drag queens going into schools reading books to kids. Kids. Like, that will confuse a kid whether you like it or not, right? Because you were a kid yourself at one stage. So put yourself in the kid's head, right? That would confuse a kid. I even had someone, so I seen a video on TikTok, right? She accused the baby of being transphobic because the child didn't like her when she had a wig on or something. Now, maybe the wig, because she's a thick cunt, this woman that was doing the video, maybe she didn't realize that the wig was maybe making the child upset, because as soon as she took the wig off, the child was fine, right? So she interpreted it that the child was actually transphobic. A baby. That video's up on TikTok. I shit you not. She said that baby was transphobic. And I start laughing because, Jesus Christ, we're all babies, right? I remember my dad used to put on a mask or even put on a wig. And as a baby, I'd cry because I'd be like, where's my daddy? You know, sort of thing, because that's the way it was. But seriously, I'm not messing. Are you serious? Bloody hell. Matt, it's on my Twitter account. I'll tag you in it later on, right? It's probably down my account now a little bit. But I'll find it for you, right? And I'll tag you in it. She accused the baby of being transphobic. And the reasons why she accused the baby for being transphobic, because the woman had a wig on and the baby was terrified. Then she took the wig off and the baby was fine. So instead of interpreting it like all rational human beings would be, well, maybe it was the wig, she's decided to say, oh no, it wasn't the wig. The baby was transphobic. Now, I don't know how you can claim something like that anyway, when a baby hasn't even developed yet, their brain hasn't even developed yet, and don't know the difference between right or wrong. So, but again, these are the type of loony bins that we have in society, and they need to be stopped. Damn. Where's my fucking... Oh, there it is. Send the baby to the re-education. Do you know what I'm actually going to do? Here, hold on. Do you know what? I don't normally do this, but because this is so fucking out there, I'm actually going to show you on the stream. Because I know there will be people watching this. Oh, he's lying. Nobody ever said the baby was transphobic. Yeah? Okay, well, I'll prove it to you now. Seriously. Look, all I'm just saying is that we really need as a society to come together and to stop some of this nonsense. Everybody has the right to live their lives the way they want to live their lives, but what they don't have the right to do is impose on other people's lives. Oh, by the way, I have another cute little video up on my Twitter account where a rabbit, right? Someone built a snowman, a mini little snowman, and put a carrot as the nose, and there's a rabbit actually eating the carrot. The carrot. Funny. Right, so hold on, I'll get this now. It's down a bit. I posted it a couple of days back, so just bear with me for a second. Oh, I see a lot of this shit, the stands, because I'm going down my Twitter account. I've deleted their tweets. Told you, don't even come and try take me on, right? Because I'll hit you with logic, right? Ratioed me arse. Someone said I was going to be ratioed. I don't get ratioed, by the way. And even if I was ratioed, who gives a flying fuck? What does it do? Absolutely nothing. Doesn't hurt me. Right, where's this video? Because seriously, man, this is out there. Ah, there's Betty White. Oh. I must have posted it before New Year's. Ah, Jesus, how far is this actually down? Come on. Jesus, I've just actually noticed a lot of these people have deleted our tweets. I'm sorry you just can't hack the logic and the facts. Actually, I think it's after this 2-pack broken glass art, actually. If you haven't seen it, there's some artist that actually smashes up glass or cracks glass and makes art out of it. He made a lovely piece of 2-pack Shakur. For any of you stands that don't know who 2-pack Shakur is, he was actually one of the greatest rappers and was gunned down and killed, murdered basically. But he was a great rapper, genius. Oh, I think it's after these Doctor Who images. Hold on, I think we're getting close. Or maybe I should have just bloody put in the search bar transphobic baby, and it probably would have bleeding came up. It's on that. Here it is. Oh, Jesus Christ. Wait till you hear this. Right.
Oh, because it's like 9 o'clock at night.
Right. So hold on. By the way, I'm going to say something here that's probably going to rub people up the wrong way, right? But I'm sorry, I just have to say it. But why do these people always look like that they've escaped from a mental institution? So here we go. So this is, as I told you, the video. Yeah, where a woman says the baby is transphobic. He's ready. So there she is there. I don't know if you can see it on the screen there. I'll just wait because you can. Actually, do you know what I'll do? I will make me smaller. There you go. So you can actually get a full image. Right? Right, here we go. Right? I shit you not. So everybody thinks I'm messing. This video has 225,600 views. So
I've talked about the transphobic baby at work before. I went in a room with him today, and I had my wig on, which I took off now because it's like 9 o'clock at night. He didn't cry. And he was like, babbling at me. And I had to look at him and like, do you like me now because we've had a moment? Or do you like me now because I have long hair and look more feminine? Because then you're more transphobic. And then he started to cry, so that was my answer.
So, you've heard that. You've actually heard that, right? So, she's literally accused a baby, who she clearly says crying. So this baby is not even, I wouldn't say is even 2 or 3 years of age. It's probably way younger, right? And she accused that baby of being transphobic. This is the society that the left want, right? This is how they want us all to live, right? Everybody, doesn't matter whether you're a baby, whether you're an older person from an older generation, or, as I said, you're even part of the group that you're supposed to be fighting for, but then you say something wrong, they'll eat you up. That's what I said. They would even eat babies to get where they want to get. They'll even accuse babies of this, that, and the other to get what they want to get. And this is all down to the left and their ideology, right? Okay? Not all left politics are actually bad, believe it or not. But the crackheads, the loony bins have taken over the left, and this is what we get now. Babies are transphobic now, folks. And I think she didn't say specifically in the video, but I'm kind of assuming if she's around the baby, then she must work in childcare. So that woman is looking after someone's baby. Now do you see why we give out when they do something in Doctor Who that doesn't have solid foundations? This is why. And this is why there's gonna be, this is why, fans, general audience see through all of this shit, man. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. I'm not saying you can't live your life the way you want to live your life. If you wanna go and, as I said, do all of those things and whatever, you're more than welcome to do so. It's your body, your choice. You can do whatever the hell you want, but don't encroach your beliefs and your rules on the rest of society, right? Because I'm sorry, that's not how it works, right? You like us all, you have to adapt, okay? And if you can't adapt, well, then I'm sorry for you. You're going to be left behind, right? Because this nonsense has to stop, and someone has to put their hand up and say, hey, enough is enough. Okay, I'll tell you one thing, right? If I had a child and I heard someone talk about my child like that, accuse my child of being transphobic, I tell you one thing, all hell would break loose. How dare you accuse my baby? Seriously, man, what are we at? Classic Doctor Who, Star Trek, and Star Wars have morals, is it? And exciting adventures. This normalizes. This is what happens when you normalizes idiosyncrasy. Is that the word? I think I probably said it wrong. I know it's because of people like that there's such a pushback on certain things that are happening in the media, happening in the entertainment industry. We really need to, as I said, have this discussion and have it out, because it's, that's what we used to do in the old days. But there's no room for discussion with these people. It's either our way or it's the highway, or you're transphobic, you're homophobic, you're sexist, you're bigot, you're all the labels that you're being labeled. It needs to stop. And again, I do get called right-winged. I'm actually not right-winged, believe it or not. I would class myself as a more centralist person. I do like some policies of the left, and I do like some policies of the right. But I have to say the left, or the radical left, as I like to call it, that has been radicalized, unfortunately, and so has the right. The right has been the same. So, we all need to take a step back here, because it's gone to one extreme to the other, and we need to find a balance somewhere. Anyone who pushes back against this woke agenda is called right-wing. Exactly. I'm not even right-winged. In fairness, I haven't. When it comes to politics, I kind of try to keep out of it as much as I can. I don't really, get involved, because it causes more trouble than fucking that. So I try to keep out, but that's why I do be very, I do say when my panel comes on, please don't bring politics into it, because I don't want to be getting into politics, because it is perceived that this channel is right wing and I'm right wing, but that is actually far from the truth. And anybody that knows me backstage and behind the scenes knows that I'm not right wing. I'm the least right wing person you come across. Noel, thanks for the show, brother. What these current dares don't get is the organic human stories and allegory of political ideas our shows had. They weren't propaganda. And you're absolutely right, hairless primate. That's exactly what it is, mate. That's exactly what it is. Look, as we said, we're not opposed to any representation and inclusion and all of this. We've said it from day one. Look at RTD's era. If you're a Doctor Who fan, RTD's era did it properly, right? Were Doctor Who fans complaining back then? Was I complaining back then about Captain Jack or Jenny or Vastra or Bill Potts? No, I wasn't. And why wasn't I? Because the characters were developed properly. Yes, Bill Potts did remind us nearly every episode that she was a lesbian, right? But if you look at it, was she given the development and the character development to show that? This is why we always said she didn't need to tell us every 5 minutes that she was lesbian, because Stephen Moffat actually laid the groundwork and we knew that she was. So she didn't need to tell us. And I think that was the complaint with some fans when it came to Bill Potts. You don't need to tell us that you're lesbian. We know. We know that you fancy girls. And we're fine with that. Bill Potts is one of my favourite characters. I defend her all the bloody time. Series 10 gets a bad rap or a bad reputation. And and people will tell you on this channel, I've always said that Series 10 is criminally underrated. If you fair enough that there's the agenda put into it, but it's not shoehorned in like the Chris Chibnall era. So listen, I've said to people again, people need to go back and watch Series 10 again. It's criminally underrated. And Bill Potts is up there. She's a great companion. She's a great companion. The people you just said, no, all great characters, exactly because they were developed garbage. And that's why we have a problem with this current Thasmin thing. This hasn't been developed properly for fans like me to accept it, right? Okay? Now, the others will accept anything that they're given. But I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry, folks. It's done disrespectfully. It's not done properly. And I can't believe that she was actually get on board and support this because Chris Chibnall is selling you short. He's been disrespectful to all you stands out there and all you people that are shilling this relationship. He's disrespecting you all because he's giving you little pieces here and little pieces there, but he's not actually laying down the groundwork. He's shoehorning it all in. But the next couple of episodes, will get his own wish anyway. Right? But that's all you care about, because even these are comments against me. When you were calling me, well, trying to call me out. You were basically, when I came out with the point that you don't care about the history of the show, or the legacy of the show, or character development, or anything like that, you all laughed at me. Because for yous, reading these are comments, the main thing for yous was those two kissing. I read out a couple of comments last night. Some fans out there are willing to forgive Chris Chibnall for what he's done if the Doctor and Yaz kiss. Someone even said that they would give Chris Chibnall their baby. I shit you not. Someone said, I'll give Chris Chibnall my baby if Thasmin happens. Right? So that's all they care about. They don't care that we've gotten shit for the last few years, right? All they care about is those two getting it on in the TARDIS. And again, Marty, yeah, you said 3.2 million, holy shit. What did I say last night, mate? Didn't I say last night on the panel as well, said to you all, I wouldn't get the bounce. Because I knew, I just knew I've been predicting stuff for the last few months now, because I don't know, I'm wired in, and I seem to be able to see what other people can't see. But I actually did say 3.2 million. And I think it's going to hit under, I think it's finally going to, look at, I said, what was it, a year ago, 2 years ago? I says if this show, there's a possibility that it could go under 3 million. A lot of people were saying to me that they didn't think that it could go that low. And then there were some that agreed with me. Some of you on the panel definitely agreed with me. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. Absolutely disaster. It's an absolute disaster. And again, it's if fans need to realise, you know, they can see through what Chris Chibnall is doing. And it doesn't help that his stories are actually boring as well. Right? See, here's the thing. If the writing was slightly better, or was way better, right? And even if this relationship was done poorly, right? I do believe that the ratings would be higher. Because the story, because us Doctor Who fans would focus on the story and we kind of ignore the Thasmin stuff. But because the writing's so bad, and then we see what he's doing with this Thasmin stuff, it highlights it even more. His failures, his weaknesses. Chris Chibnall, I said it last night and I'll say it again, this is controversial, but Chris Chibnall is a worse showrunner than JNT. And that's a fact. That's a fact. And there we got people saying, because the media are coming out and actually calling it out now, we got people out there saying that they must cast another woman because we can't let the Not My Doctors win, right? Because again, that's all they care about. And again, I'll say to those people that are actually using not my doctor, and saying it's a group. It's not. It was a hashtag that was created by a woman. You need to get over it, okay? A woman created that hashtag. A woman, not a bloke, a woman. Right? And ask yourselves why it was created. Right? Absolutely disgraceful, man. I'm actually gutted. I'm gutted. I'm gutted because of Doctor Who, its legacy. Because it didn't need to be this way. It actually didn't. If Chris Chibnall had just come in, forgot about the pandering and the agenda, and just concentrated on his writing, then maybe we would have got something a little bit better. But even saying that, it still wouldn't be up to the standard of RTD or Stephen Moffat. It's absolutely disgraceful. But look, he is worse than JNT. I think JNT will be looking down now, and he'll probably have a little smile on his face, along with Pip and Jane Baker. I think they'll be smiling and laughing their fucking heads off because they're no longer considered the people that produce some of the worst Who. Right? That's Chris Chibnall. His legacy has been sealed now. And this is why, for the next 2 episodes, and why he's been doing it for the last few, pandering to these lot, is because he wants to feel loved, because he knows he's not loved by the Doctor Who fandom or the British public in general. Because as I said, people keep telling me that TV habits have changed. But yeah, the ratings take that into account. So we got 3.2 million. So where's the rest of your audience? Are they going to watch next week, next year, 2 years from now, 3 years from now? Doctor Who used to get 10 million in overnights at one stage. Yes, under Stephen Moffat, the show started to slowly decline. Okay? It was a slow decline, though. Chris Chibnall made sure that it was a fast decline under him. He has fluxed any chance of leaving with any dignity. Well, look, for a lot of us, he would have redeemed himself to a certain extent if he had a retcon the Timeless Child. But even now, even if he was to do that, I don't think he can. I think it's too late now. I think it's too late. RTD is going to have some job. I don't envy him. I really don't. I'm going to support RTD the best I can because he's going to have a hard job on his hands, and I want him to succeed. And we know what his character development is like, and we know what his storytelling is like because we've seen it in the past, and it's been absolutely wonderful. I don't think RTD2 will save this show. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Look, right now, Tardis Who 1962, I would actually have to agree with you. But I've been hearing some stuff because, as you know, we do the rumours and the speculation. I have been hearing some stuff, and I have to say it sounds pretty exciting for what RTD has planned, if any of it that we've been told is true. Even if a small minute of it is true, we're up for something spectacular. But the thing will be, will the audience come back even if it is that good? Marty, I think that's the only solution now. Will he do it though? Because I think a reboot, I don't really want it to be rebooted because, you know, you're kind of, what about Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi? It's not fair on them, you know, because we've had one bad Doctor. It's not their fault. And that's why this reboot to a certain extent doesn't sit comfortably with me. But I think that's what I think that's what he's gonna do, because You know, he rebooted it when he brought it back in 2005, and I think that's why the decision is being made to bring him back, because he probably will reboot it, but I don't want them to dismiss the other doctors that came before. Listen, we would love a McGann series. We're speaking about it behind the scenes. Myself, Marty, and Sigma. We stayed on a bit longer. We were, do you know what we were actually doing after the stream last night? Myself, Marty, and Sigma were actually watching old clips of New Who, some of the Doctor's famous speeches, some of the emotional scenes that he did. And literally, man, we were getting very emotional even watching. We watched the Tom Baker 50th reveal again. And by God, man, we just couldn't keep it together. It was, look, it's... RTD really does have a hard job. He really does. But if anybody can do it, I do still believe he can. I still do believe he can. Even after all of this, I still do believe he can. And maybe I am pinning too much hope on RTD to do something to save this show. But I've got to believe that it has to improve after this era. Because if it doesn't, then it's over. It's over. It's over. I will no longer watch New Who. I'll be done. We'll just cover the classic era on the channel. I'll be done. Can't go through another 5 years of this rubbish. Really can't. You know? At least if RTD does it, he'll do it properly. And I won't mind because he'll do it properly. But we're really pinning our hopes on this man now. We keep pinning our hope, and it shouldn't be left. It shouldn't be left to RTD to come in and rescue this shit show. But please do. We'll have to see, mate. We'll have to see. Unfortunately, you know, we still got 2 more of these specials to go. Look at RTD's casting announcement. Is going to be the most important casting announcement in years. And he's got to get it right. He gets it wrong, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. But look, I could go on about this for another few hours, but look, I think I've kind of made my point. Things need to change, and they need to change fast. But Chris, wherever you are, sitting at home, I hope you're looking at all of this and you're ashamed of yourself. The fact that you're just pandering to a small minority in the fandom before you leave is absolutely disgraceful. What happened with Doctor Who, Space for All, and all of this other rubbish that your heroes was preaching? Yeah, wasn't Space for All. I would love a Paul McGann, but that's what I was saying. Myself and Marty and Sigma were literally talking about that last night. I was talking about what RTD could do, right? So you fix Doctor Who, right? You have it on its solid foundations again. It's doing well in the rankings, right? Then say 2 years, right? Say when Doctor Who, when the RTD era begins, right? Then maybe a year or 2 years after he's fully in and the show is on its solid foundations, then you start then talking about spin-offs and other shows, and you can have that extended universe, which I think is what he's going to do anyway. But Doctor Who, the show itself, will have to be. Look, if the main show is not solid, no point of reboot. No point of doing spin-offs because it won't survive. The main universe has to be. The main show, I should say, has to be on solid foundations before you even do that. But yeah, we were talking about a Paul McGann War Doctor style series. But then we watched the day of the night, was it? No, the night of the Doctor. And Paul McGann's Doctor didn't want to fight in the Time War. So I don't know how you would actually do it because he didn't want to fight in the Time Lord. That's why he took the elixir and turned himself into John Hurt's Doctor, War Doctor, because he wanted to be a warrior. So I don't think a Paul McGann War Doctor, Paul McGann Time War series would actually work because unless they retcon what Moffat did with the elixir and turned him into John Hurt. Oh, and also in the same episode, he had which I had forgotten, he had a choice to choose a female regeneration or a male regeneration, and he went with the warrior regeneration, which was John Hurt. The scene between Ten and Wilf giving him the gun was another classic. I know, Marty, you couldn't keep your... I know, even I was getting a bit emotional. That scene, and then when he goes into the machine to save Wilf, and Wilf is screaming, "No, Doctor, no." We all got very fucking... we had a few tears, let's just say. I played the Heaven Sent speech where he's talking to Missy and the Master. Another brilliant speech. That's what we were doing last night backstage. We were reminiscing about how good this show used to be. Picking out our favourite classic scenes from the New Who era. And I tell you, even watching those little scenes upset me because it reminded me of what Doctor Who once was. And in a short, and remember, folks, this is just a short space of time. This is just 5 years. And look how far this show has dropped in the public consciousness and with the fandom. It's sad. It's sad. It didn't have... This is what annoys me more. It didn't have to be this way. Doctor Who is for everybody and was for everybody. So I don't know where they got all of this, that it was never for everybody. It was. Doctor Who was one of the most inclusive shows, even back in the classic era. I just don't get where all of these other mouthpieces are coming from when they're saying that Doctor Who needed to be more inclusive. Doctor Who was always inclusive, just like Star Trek was always inclusive. Yeah, we'll be doing our classic. As I said, we'll never stop doing the classic Who watch-alongs. We've even repeated episodes or stories 4 or 5 times now at this stage. But we'll never stop reminding fans of how good Doctor Who was. And we do New Who watch-alongs as well. We're on actually Matt Smith's era at the moment. And while, you know, the season that we're on now is not the greatest, there's still some good stories in there. And we're enjoying it. But seriously, Marty was in bits last night. And he was on camera. So when he started, I started getting very emotional. And I was even saying it to him off camera. These last few months, I've just been an emotional wreck. I watched Twice Upon a Time and I cried like a fucking baby. I watched an adventure in adventure in space and time, isn't it? Space and time. I watched that, and the scene where Hartnell's at the fireplace. In that scene where he says, "I don't want to go," I lost it. I just couldn't. because that's what that show meant to that man. Could you imagine how he'd feel right now? Or even Verity Lambert. But look, they can't take that away from us. That's the one thing I will say. A lot of people, you say, I know they've tainted Classic Who because of the animations and they're inserting stuff. Forget about the animations, right? You still have Classic Who there. You still have your Hartnell stories. You still have your Troughton stories, your Pertwee stories, your Baker stories, and so on, right? You've got your Classic Who. Nobody could take that away from you. And you've also got New Who up to a certain extent as well. And if you've enjoyed New Who up to a certain point, they can't take that away from you either. I'm just so gutted. I'm gutted. I also grew up with Space 1999 and Blake 7. Oh, talk to Lee. Talk to Lee there. He's a big feckin' fan of both, I think. Well, I definitely know he's a huge fan of Blake 7. And of a certain character in Blake 7. Isn't that right, Lee? I think Verity would be up for this era, just not how it's played out. I don't know, Matt. I don't know because, you know, see, we don't know whether I don't think she would be on board with a female doctor. I really don't. And I know, look, I can't speak for the woman because she's no longer here. But just from all the interviews that she's done since she left Doctor Who and all that, and her time on Doctor Who, makes me believe that I don't think she would be on board with this. Maybe not the way it's done. Maybe you do have a point. Maybe not the way it's being handled, maybe. But I don't know. I don't know. See, we'll never know. I can't really speak for the woman. But I don't think she would be on board with this. I don't know. What do you guys in the comments think there? Do you think Verity Lambert would be on board with this? Do you think Sydney Newman would be on board with this? That's another question as well. And the others that came up with the concept for Doctor Who. You know, because they had a specific brief. Oh, yeah, I'm a huge Lost in Space fan. Yeah, I'm a huge Lost in Space fan myself. I never watched Blake 7. Sounds like my sort of thing. Colin Baker was in one episode. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Listen, I've watched it, right? And even though I haven't watched it all the way through because someone ruined it for me, and I kind of haven't been able to go back to it. But what I have watched and seen, it's worth watching. It is worth watching. So I will say Blake 7 is worth the watch. So go and watch it if you haven't. I would advise you to do that. It's a good show. It's a good show. The Queen Charlotte off for tea. See you all soon. Well, I'll be gone myself because I'll probably I'm gonna have me dinner myself. You're having tea. I'll be having me dinner. I have Lost in Space on Blu-ray, says Disaster Area. Brilliant. Blake 7 is worth it, says Bobby D 75. Sydney was apparently in favour of a female doctor in the 80s. I don't know about Verity. I think she was core to the idea of Hartnell's doctor being a stern grandfather. Sydney was apparently in favour of a female. Well, no, that's not exactly true. It was mentioned around the time, if I remember correctly, when Tom Baker was the doctor. And I think before they cast Peter Davison, there was talk of possibly bringing in, but they dismissed it and he went with a younger guy in Peter Davison. So while Sydney in an interview did say there'd be a possibility that the doctor could be a woman, he wasn't working for the BBC at the time, if I remember correctly, because he went back to, did he live in Australia or New Zealand? I forget. I think it was Australia. So he moved back. So, you know, I would take what Sydney there said with a pinch of salt, because I think at the time he wasn't on great terms with the BBC. So, and there, Tom Baker said and Tom Baker said it as a joke as well. Sure, even Tom Baker said when Jodie was cast, if it doesn't work, you've got to wield the axe, basically, right? And it hasn't worked, but they haven't wielded the axe. We've had to put up with another 2 bloody series, and now we've got 2 more specials to go after the one that we watched last night. JMT went for a publicity stunt, but he was always privately against ever doing the idea. One of the few things I agree with him on. That's exactly what it is. But a lot of these fans that are in favour of female Doctor will bring up those quotes and comments, but will leave out the part that it was said as a joke and privately they didn't want to do it, and it was a public and all of this. Do you know what I mean? So, look, as I said, you know, Doctor Who in 2022 and beyond, you know, the show will change and adapt because it has to. But, you know, you have to keep the core of the show and keep the core elements. And the core elements are the Doctor is male, and a Doctor has companions and stuff like that. You have to keep the core, and then you can move the show on into the future, then building your stories around that. But, you know, didn't Tom say sack the woman? Well, not like that. He said if it didn't work, well, then pull the plug, basically. So, yeah, it was. He didn't specifically, explicitly come out and say she should be sacked. He just said if it didn't work, then, you know, a decision would have to be made. But it didn't work. It didn't work Series 11 because it proved it. First episode got 12 million in consolidated or overnights, right? And has sunk ever since then, right? So if you've gone from 12 million and now we're on 3.2 million. So remember, this show originally started off with The Woman Who Fell to Earth with 12 million viewers, right? And now we're down to 3.2 these years later, right? And apparently TV habits have changed, yeah? But the audience has disappeared. You know what? The audience are going to watch Jodie Whittaker's era when she leaves, by the way, folks, right? That's when she'll get all our views, right? Because the audience is not around. And by the way, I'm only joking. They won't watch. But I'm just taking the piss here. You know what I mean? Where's the audience? When the rating system takes all of these things into account, TV habits, I'll say, right, fair enough. So why has the special got 3.2 million and hasn't got 12 if TV habits have changed? If people are not watching on the night but watch on catch up and all of that, why hasn't the ratings shot up? Right, so if you get 3.2 in the overnights, why isn't it getting 9 million in the consolidated then if TV habits have changed and people don't watch on the night? Now, TV habits haven't changed. Look, TV habits have changed, but that's not the reason for Doctor Who's decline, right? And that's not the reason why the ratings are down so low, right? The reason why the ratings are down so low is because you've got a showrunner who can't write the show and who has made his Doctor a bloody idiot. Jodie Whittaker is probably her Doctors is probably the most incompetent Doctors, and actually admitted last night that she was a genocidal Doctor, by the way, as well. Because the Daleks were holding her to task, which kind of made me laugh because, okay, you're holding the Doctor to task, but why didn't you hold him to task for Genesis of the Daleks? Or even way back in the day in William Hartnell's era when he fought the Daleks. So why was this Doctor so special that she was going to be held to account this time? Makes no sense, man. And how did 3 Daleks survive when basically the rest of them died and the universe is destroyed? None of this makes any sense, man. You have to do literally a 15-minute video after Flux dropped to explain what was going on. And apparently he's done the same for Eve of the Daleks. He done another little video. If you have to do videos right after your episode drops or before your episode drops to explain to the audience what you're actually doing, well, then you're not doing your job properly on the show, right? You should be doing all of this in the scripts, right? Not in a 15-minute video explaining to the audience, oh, this is what I was trying to do. And then the funny thing is when you're listening to him and Jodie Whittaker, you could tell that they don't know what they're fucking talking about. You could actually tell they haven't got a clue what they're talking about. He hasn't got a clue himself. And he's the writer. She has destroyed who. It's not all her fault. It's Chibnall has destroyed who. But she has facilitated because she's the doctor. And she has said some things in interviews that I believe have been quite controversial and didn't help her case. But no, the main protagonist here of destroying Doctor Who is actually Chris Chibnall. And let's not hide from that fact. It's not all Jodie Whittaker's fault. She's handed piss poor scripts. She was handed a job that she should never have been given in the first place because she's not good enough. Right? And listen, some people out there might think she's a great actress, right? I just don't see it. And I think it's been proven over these last few years. Right? But the main villain here is Piers Wenger because he hired Chris Chibnall, and Chris Chibnall because he writes the scripts and he was the one that cast his doctor. So yes, while Jodie Whittaker is responsible for some things, at the end of the day, the failure of this era is all on Chris Chibnall's shoulders. The writing is the framework she has to work within. Exactly. And it doesn't help the fact that she just can't play the doctor. But let's not just blame Jodie Whittaker on it all. Because I used to do that myself, and it's not fair. It's not fair. You've got to look at it logically. And if you look at it logically, Chris Chibnall was the man that made all the decisions for his era. Right? He was hired by Piers Wenger. And then once he got in there, then Chris Chibnall, he's the one that decided to cast a woman. So he's responsible for the situation that we're in. Yes, Jodie Whittaker, as I said, done and said some things that she shouldn't have, which I didn't think helped her case. But with poor scripts and a poor acting ability from the lead actress, it was never going to work. And it's been proven now. Again, all of these people spinning the ratings, you're talking to a brick wall. You cannot spin these ratings because, as I said, you keep saying TV habits have changed and all of this, right? But where's the audience? Doctor Who, the woman who fell to Earth, got 12 million in the overnights, nearly 13, right? So she's lost nearly 10 million. They've lost nearly 10 million of the viewers. So where are those viewers? Are they invisible? You know what I mean? Where are they? Have they disappeared? Are they going to come back in a year or two and then watch it and pump up the ratings? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. No, I'm not saying that she's not responsible. But what I'm saying to you guys is that she's not totally responsible for the failure of this era. It's down to the man who hired her. He put her in that position in the first place. She should never have been given the job. That's the point. She should never have been given the job. And then when she was then, she did interviews then. She started talking about the white male gaze and all of this other rubbish and saying how the doctor, as a man, only fucking pandered to blokes out there and was only a role model for little boys. That was bullshit. That was bullshit. And then she did that stylist video where she mocked fans that didn't like her casting. So yes, I'm not saying she's innocent, but what I'm saying is when it comes to the decisions that were made on the show, Chris Chibnall is ultimately responsible because he's the one that put her in that position in the first place. She should never have been given the job. She's not good enough. I've always said it. And that's just my personal opinion, by the way. I don't think she's a good actress. And I've seen her in other stuff, by the way. Black Mirror, Attack the Block, and obviously Broadchurch, like everybody else did. Even then, I thought she was a mediocre actress. Right? I don't see this great actress that these fans see. Right? I see something totally different. To me, a great actress is Meryl Streep or Sandra Bullock, or even in TV, right? Jodie Comer, great actress, right? Watch a woman that was in The Bodyguard. I don't know her name, but that actress that was in The Bodyguard, she was brilliant as well, right? Brilliant actress, right? So you've got brilliant actresses out there, but he didn't go with a brilliant actress. He went with a mediocre actress. Olivia Colman was a name in the frame, right? If you had a cast Olivia Colman or she was willing to take the role, I think we'd be having a different conversation here. Because even if these scripts are so poor, Olivia Colman is such a great actress that she would do what Peter Capaldi did with Moffat's crap scripts. She would elevate them. Because that's what Peter Capaldi did with Stephen Moffat's scripts that weren't great. Because he was such a great actor, he was able to elevate some of these scripts because of his screen presence, because of his acting ability, right? But unfortunately, Whittaker's being handed shit after shit after shit, and because she's not the greatest actress in the world, she can't elevate those scripts. So she falls flat. No, The Bodyguard, the TV show, The Bodyguard, which our man James Madden, isn't it? He played the bodyguard. He was protecting some woman. That actress that was in that role. Yeah, Keely Hawes, is that her name? Yeah, she's a good actress. Yeah, she was in, that's right, she was in Time Heist. That's that actress. She's a great actress. Now, I'm not saying she would have made a great doctor, but if you had to gave her the role, let's be honest, she would have done better. She would have acted better. Still probably wouldn't have been great, but that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the level of the actress here right now. Pitbull Gaming 66 says she just reads what's on the page. That's what it looks like to everybody. Yes. Yeah. And that's the problem, mate. She's no charisma. She's not putting her own personality in it either. She's trying to copy former doctors. And we know who those doctors are, right? So she's not putting any of her own into it, which is sad. Because this is the thing as well. Even though I'm saying all those things about Jodie Whittaker and all that, we will never truly know what a Jodie Whittaker doctor would have been like, because she was never given the direction or told to go and do the research until it was too late and put her own spin on it. She has never made the doctor her exactly. PD Rich is throwing your channel in there, Pitbull Gaming 66. We put it in last night as well. We're trying to get Pitbull Gaming to 100 subscribers. They've set up a new channel, so go and support them. For anybody that doesn't know who Pitbull Gaming is, it's formerly Gobby Guy, aka Gobby Guy. So go and check out that channel. Please subscribe to them, because you know, Dane's is one of the good ones. He doesn't bullshit either. He calls things how he sees them as well. I have to respect that. You know, it's that's what we need. We need more channels like that aren't afraid to come out and speak up. And Pitbull Gaming 66 is definitely one of those channels. Go and support him. He has a Twitter account as well. Go and support his Twitter account as well. He's one of the good ones. So please do. And thank you, PD, for throwing that in. I'm blown away, honest I am. Listen, Dean, it's all good, man. It's all good. Look, as you said, me and you haven't always seen eye to eye over these last few years with stuff that's been going on in the fandom and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you know, that's all in the past. I've moved on, we've all moved on from all that bullshit, to be quite honest with you. We're too old in the tooth to be fucking at each other, haven't we? So, you know, that's what adults do. We move fucking on and we let bygones be bygones. And that's it. So we'll just as I said, you know, we're moving on and we're doing great. So I'll support you in any way I can, Dean. And as I said, you're more than welcome on the channel anytime you want this year. I know you've been a bit busy, but if you ever want to come on the channel, you're more than welcome to come on and talk about any of the stuff that we're talking about, or if there's any stuff that you would like to bring up, you're more than welcome to come on anytime. I just want to put that out there and let you know. I will come on as soon as I can. I know you're busy, so, you know, whenever you can, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome, mate. Yeah, that's the problem I have with Whittaker when it comes to Doctor Who. For me, she took the role when offered it because she thought it would be nice on her CV and it would elevate her career. Unfortunately, I think it's going to have the opposite effect now. And that's down to our mate who wrote her Doctor that way. You should never have put her in that position. Never. Yep, the time zones are crazy, says Matt Pot. Yeah, Matt, whenever, we haven't had you on in a while either. If you're ever around when I'm streaming, let me know in the chat, and you're more than welcome to come on as well. You know that I don't stop anybody from coming on. You know, I try to be as interactive as possible. You know, it's done her no favors. It definitely hasn't. It definitely hasn't. And it's sad, you know, because look, even though I don't rate her as an actress, you know, it's her livelihood. And I don't think she's going to come out of this too well. Now, I heard that she's going to be producing and directing her own stuff. And there might be a play in the works as well. I think that's the way she'll have to go. I think she'll have to create her own opportunities now. I know, the architect, we were actually talking about that, but some person did make the point that Daleks had missed before when it comes to the weapons, but then Lee made the point, which I thought was a very valid point. Well, they were in narrow corridors and there was nowhere for them to go, and the Daleks were still missing. And even the Daleks dialogue, they weren't even speaking like proper Daleks. That was the thing that... See, this is what I've praised Chibnall for. Because as I said earlier, you know, I've taken a lot of stick because I actually said to people that subscribe to me on this channel that I've actually been a fan of Chris Chibnall's Dalek stories. He's made them, I even said it, he made them more sinister again. But in this episode, he completely dismantled everything that he had done to make them sinister and turned them into a fucking joke. Raymond, she won't be invited to Comic-Cons, but if she is, oh my God. Look, that's the thing as well, though. Even if she does appear in Comic-Cons, I don't think fans should have a go at her. And I know that would be hard for some people, But she's gone. She's gone. So there'll be no point of pulling her up now. You know? There'll be no point of pulling her up. Go and get something to eat and all. Is that your stomach? LOL. No, not my stomach. Why? Is there something rumbling? No, man. No, I'm not. I'm grand. I'm grand. Trust me, if it was my stomach, I'd tell you, and I'll tell you I have to go off and get some food into me. But if you see Chris Chibnall, well, I have said it's lucky that he wasn't on Twitter last night, because I would have given him a piece of me mind, which would have been probably, and Lee said that wouldn't be a good idea, which he's probably right. But I was so angry last night. I heard he's on Instagram, and I still have a mind to set up one and actually go in and have a word. But apparently he has his account locked, so he's not going to add me. So that's the thing that I don't like about Chris Chibnall either. He's a snivelling little snake, right? So these Moffat turned up at Comic-Cons, and if there's any criticism thrown, he threw his toys out of the pram and all that, but he sat there and he took the criticism. RTD would have been the same. Chris Chibnall is hid, right? That's why we haven't had Comic-Cons since Series 11. And then any of the Comic-Cons that they've had are virtual, and they've controlled the narrative. And they haven't even done them live either, if you remember. Right? Because the comment section, you couldn't comment. I know there's a lot of fandoms and franchises that have been destroyed, but look, this can't go on. That's the thing. Something has to give. Something has to give. Hollywood is already, as you can see, with recent movies like Ghostbusters Afterlife, Spider-Man No Way Home. You know, they're starting to give fans what they want. I think that has to happen a lot more. We're slowly getting there. You know, we've got shows like Cobra Kai that are kicking ass. You know, nostalgia done right, but adding something new to the franchise. You know, that's what we need RTD to do when he comes in. Is to do something new with it, refresh it, and move it forward for all fans. For all fans. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Chibnall has been last trended 18 hours ago. Hollywood is waking up to what they are there for, to entertain, says Pitbull Game. Yeah, it's a slow process, mate, but we are getting there. You are right. And I think this year will be an indicator. Whether they're going to continue that. Because last night I seen something about the Flash movie. And I have to say, if these rumors are true, then we're back to square one, folks. We're back to square one. Hollywood is not learning their lessons because apparently they're going to retcon half of the DCEU. So we'll have to see. Apparently apparently Superman's going to be replaced by Supergirl. All of the events that led up to the Justice League apparently are going to be erased with this Flash movie, apparently. Batman's going to be replaced by Batgirl. Ben Affleck's Batman and Henry Cavill will be out. So we'll have to see. On one hand, we are seeing some changes, but then on the other hand, they're still doing some rubbish. For example, Dean actually put up a screenshot of Superman, Superman in a comic. And he wrote, what the hell is this? And then I was reading it and I was like, have they really done that to Superman? And I won't go into details, but these people that are writing these comics are truly disgusting people. Superman was beaten up, and if I've read it correctly, he was also sexually assaulted. And it took Batman 8 months to break him out of prison or something. I shit you not, this is a comic. So on one hand, we are getting some little things, right? Step by step. But at the same time, they're still doing some of the fuckery. Do you know what I mean? So, as I said, 2022 for Hollywood and in the TV and film industry as a whole, this is a very important year, in my opinion. We have to see now, will they continue this trend of giving fans what they want? And I suppose when the Flash movie comes out, we'll have our answers, won't we? Sony have learned lessons, not DC or Marvel or Disney. I agree. Sony has learned its lessons, because we wouldn't have got Ghostbusters Afterlife if they didn't learn the lessons after Ghostbusters 2016. So anybody out there that's saying that Sony hasn't learned any lessons because they put a code into 2016 into the box set, I'm sorry, you are wrong. The fact that the movie is not actually part of the collection and you have to download it by using the code, right, proves already. And we wouldn't have got Ghostbusters Afterlife if Sony hadn't learned its lessons, because what they would have done in reality was they would have done a sequel to the 2016 version, but they didn't. They didn't. Seriously, I'll send you that screen. I'll send you that screenshot problem being on Messenger, right? Wait till you see this, man. I was shocked. But these people in DC that write Superman hate Superman. Look at the way they've actually treated Superman as well in the DC universe, right? I'm baffled. Henry Cavill should have got a Man of Steel too. I just don't get it. Why disrespect Superman like that? I love Superman. I love Batman, as you know. They're the two of my favourite characters. And they're just treating Superman with total disregard and disrespect. No, thanks. Don't think that's something I ever want to see. Fair enough. I understand where you're coming from. Bad Wolf is now owned by Sony. Yeah, and with Sony money backing Doctor Who and Bad Wolf Studios, we could have something. Because you love, so yeah, I do, man. Superman is just. Christopher Reeve's Superman, you know, obviously I go back as well to the TV show with George Reeves. You know, he played the role on TV as well. George, God love him, died in mysterious circumstances. Well, they say it was suicide, but I still, yeah, if you watch the movie Hollywoodland, actually, you know what, I've brought this up a few times. You know what's funny? Ben Affleck plays Batman, but in this movie, he plays Superman. And it's called Hollywoodland. If you've never seen the movie, go and watch it. It's about George Reeves' Superman and the circumstances around his death. And it's a very engaging story. Very engaging story. So you should check that out. Check that out. Sony made the Wheel of Time for Amazon and it was woke garbage. Don't put your faith in them. Well, as I don't watch the Wheel of Time and I'm not interested in the Wheel of Time, and I don't think we should have got that show in the first place, I don't really care. Let them pander to whoever they want to with that. All I'm concerned about is Doctor Who. Right? And I don't think they're going to make the same mistakes with Doctor Who that have been made this time round. So that's why I have a little bit more faith. And by the way, yes, while Sony might be giving Bad Wolf Productions the funds and stuff, and might be there in the background. Bad Wolf Productions are calling the shots here, not Sony. Not Sony. Bad Wolf Productions. Not even BBC Studios have a say. BBC Studios are there just to distribute this new era of RTD. RTD is calling all the shots here. Okay? So I'm not worried, to be quite honest with you, because I know that RTD is not going to bow down. And I'll tell you why. Because he wouldn't have come back if he has to bow down or pander to someone, right? He's going to do things his way, and that's it. His way, or it's the highway, basically. He wouldn't have come back unless he knew that he had complete control. So that's why I'm not worried about RTD and what Sony have done with another show. Listen, you're saying don't put faith in Sony, but they gave us Ghostbusters Afterlife. And yes, while they may have done Wheel of Time and you're saying it's woke garbage, well then, should they not be praised because, well, not praised, but should we not just like let it, ignore it for the simple fact is that, okay, while they're pandering to that side, they're also giving fans what they want with other things. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get rid of woke out of Hollywood. Right? It's how it's done and how it's portrayed. All right? So we have to get away from that thinking as well. Again, as I said, BBC have nothing to do with with RTD's era of Doctor Who, Mephisto. So you know, this is a misconception from people. So let me set the record straight. BBC and BBC Studios have no influence what RTD and Bad Wolf Productions do with Doctor Who. They've basically leased it out to Bad Wolf Productions, right? So BBC have no say what RTD does. So see Piers Wenger and him, he's out of the loop. He's out of the loop. He's nothing to do with this show. Nothing to do with it. Bad Wolf is in power. Bad Wolf is the one that's calling all the shots. So it's nothing to do with BBC. So you need to get that out. You need to. I need to set the record straight, right? Because that's exactly what's happened. If you read the interviews and you read the stuff that's being said, BBC have no influence. BBC Studios have no influence. They're there to just distribute the show. That's it. No influence. Piers Wenger can't stick his nose in and say, listen, RTD, you must have this amount of representation. You have to have this amount of this, that, and the other. He has no say. So that's another thing that I see from big YouTubers out there. They're reporting that, they're not going to watch RT because BBC is in charge. BBC isn't in charge. And people need to start realising that BBC is not in charge of Doctor Who. Bad Wolf Productions have now taken on the show. Basically, it's being leased out to them. They pay a certain amount of money to have the rights to Doctor Who. And then when Bad Wolf Productions contract runs out, then it's up for auction, basically. And the highest bidder then takes over. Then BBC have taken it out of their hands. And the reason why they have as well is because it's too expensive for them to actually keep it going. Right? It's not cheap to produce Doctor Who. And BBC over the last few years have thrown a lot of money at it, believe it or not. And they're not willing to throw any more money at it because look at what has been created. You know? So have they gotten money's worth with the amount of money that they've thrown at Chris Chibnall? No. So that's why they were left with no choice but to basically say, well, someone else will have to take this on because we can't afford to do it anymore. Sorry, no, I'll have to go to the shop to get some eggs. Have a good one, mate, says Chris. No problem. I'm going to be finishing up myself. But remember, Doctor Who is a Bad Wolves production product now. It's nothing to do with the BBC. So forget about the leftist, wokest people in the BBC. They have nothing to do with this with when RTD fully takes over. So everybody needs to relax, because there is misinformation out there from bigger YouTubers, which I think is actually unfair. They whether they believe that BBC is actually still involved, or whether they haven't done the proper necessary research, right? Either way, it's wrong, right? Bad Wolf Productions are in charge of Doctor Who, not BBC. And I think a lot of these bigger YouTubers need to bloody start reporting it that way, because that's exactly the way it is. You're telling people, I'm not saying you're lying to people, maybe you haven't done the research, but you're definitely misinforming the fandom out there and the wider audience out there if you're saying that BBC will still have influence on what happens with Doctor Who. They don't. So let's make sure that message gets out there. No Way Home had 3 Spider-Mans in it. Of course it was going to make $1 billion. Yeah, now I haven't seen the movie yet myself, Argyros, but what I will say is that the reviews that I've seen from people have actually said that this movie is actually good. So I don't know what the problem is. I mean, if you're saying the fact that it has 3 Spider-Mans in it is the reason why it got $1 billion in receipts, I haven't seen it, but I've been from the reviews that I've seen, I've heard this movie is actually pretty good. So I don't know, maybe you're not a fan of nostalgia, which is fine, fair enough, because there are some fans out there that are getting sick and tired of nostalgia, which is fine, fair enough. But I've been told that this movie is actually great. And this is coming from people as well that would normally criticize everything. So, and that's what I mean. The point is being made there. Exactly. Give people what they want and they will come. Exactly. As they say in the Fields of Dreams, build it and they will come. Right? And that's the point. You give fans what they want, then you will get $1 billion in ticket sales. Nostalgia is not a bad thing, but at the same time, I did say last night, you know, I don't want Hollywood to go down this route now for 2022 and beyond. You know, at the end of the day, yeah, nostalgia is great when it's done right. But I still want them to create new stuff, new franchises, you know, stop with the nostalgia stuff, because nostalgia only takes you so far and then fans will get bored of it. So you got to kind of move on from that as well. Nostalgia will only work for a certain amount. And this, it does actually prove Argyros's point to a certain extent, right? While Spider-Man No Way Home and Ghostbusters Afterlife did nostalgia right, now I haven't seen Spider-Man, but according to most fans, done nostalgia right. So I'll take them at their word. But I've watched Ghostbusters Afterlife and I watched it again last night. Nostalgia done right. Now, but we've already seen them do nostalgia done wrong with the Matrix Resurrection movie. So Argyros does have a point to a certain extent. You know, we got to move away from all of this nostalgia stuff, because it'll only get you to a certain point. Then you have to come up and think of new stuff to do. You know? And this is what I think Hollywood is just creatively stifled right now, because they've got too many untalented people in positions that they shouldn't be in. So the people that are actually the brains and actually create some good content and not being heard. They're hiring all of these people that pander and have certain politics and certain ideology. They're not bringing people in for their ability anymore. That's gone out the window. Spider-Man No Way Home is a fantastic film. Well written, well acted, all made sense. 9 out of 10 for me, says Pitbull Gaming 66. That's what I mean. You know, nostalgia, you can have it, and agree with Disaster Area. It does get a bit old, and this is why I fear, you know, that we're gonna go down this route. And I'm sorry, you know, for me, it's cynical. It's a way for the companies to make a quick buck. Right now, 3 out of 2 movies, they've done okay. They've done right. They got one wrong in The Matrix Resurrection. But I don't want 2022 to be known as, let's bring back more nostalgia. Let's bring back another franchise, and that's how we'll make our money. No. I still want Hollywood to create new stuff and decent stuff. I mean, The Matrix Resurrection, look, I even said it when the trailer dropped, even though I did like the trailer, and I'm not going to lie, I got stick for that as well. I did like the trailer, right? But then the movie, when I watched the movie, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. No, I was right. It was unnecessary. Sure, look at controversial here. The Matrix movie was the only one they should have made. They shouldn't have made a part 2, and they shouldn't have made a part 3, because those 2 movies were rushed anyway. If you remember, part 2 and 3 were actually made at the same time, right? And they released them. I think there was a short time between each 2 that were released. The Matrix was groundbreaking because we'd never seen that like it before, right? That's why 2 and 3 were unnecessary, right? And this is why Matrix Resurrection was unnecessary. But this was a director, going back to past glories, thinking that they could recapture what they did in the first movie, and it went wrong. And that's my worry for Hollywood going forward in the future, that they will latch onto this nostalgia thing, and they will rinse it dry until they can't get out of it anymore. The trailer was the best bits of the film. I kind of had a funny feeling, Pitbull, because I have to say I was really impressed by the trailer. I have to say I was buzzing. I was. I couldn't believe it. Everybody else was going, nah, I don't want to watch that. Right? And I was like, this trailer looks brilliant. Shut up, these moan bags. But then when I watched the movie, they were actually right this time. But I always say never judge a book by its cover. That's why a trailer can be very deceiving. If you look at the Chris Chibnall era, his trailers have been very deceiving. So, as I've always said, the best thing to do is to watch all these things for yourself anyway. Don't be listening to people like myself or other media out there. Don't take our word for it, because we all have different tastes anyway, So if you still haven't seen that movie, go and watch it for yourself. And then if you agree with us, that's fine, fair enough. But I'd always encourage people to watch for yourselves. Watch for yourselves. Exactly, it was a cash grab, and fans can see through that, PD Rich. That's the thing. Right then, I'm going to leave it there. I didn't plan on going over 2 hours, but when you're having a great conversation, you got some people in the chat interacting with you. It's always good. So again, I want to wish you all a happy 2022. I hope it's going well for you all so far. Look after yourselves and look after your loved ones, and stay safe and stuff. And as I said, Alpha, if you're out there, please get in contact with either myself, Lee, or anybody out there, just to let us know that you're okay, because we're all very worried about you. I have to say, I am very worried. So please, if you can, or if anybody out there knows him, as I said, he's from Philadelphia. We've shown up a couple of his photographs. you know, if you know where he lives, or you have you speak to him, please let him know that we're all thinking of him, and please let us know if he's okay. So yeah. See, 9th of September was the 9th of December was the last time I spoke to him. So I'm actually very, very worried. I'm actually very worried, man. It's not like him not to get in contact with us, even if he's not online. I mean, not streaming or anything like that. He would get in contact and say hello or whatever, but he hasn't. So I'm a bit, like everybody else, we're all worried about him. So if anybody knows him, lives in his area, if you've seen him or you know the situation, if you could get in contact, as I said, with myself, Lee, or anybody else that's on this channel, let us know if he's okay. Or Alf, if you're listening, and if there's any way you can let us know that you're okay, please do. But get well soon, mate. And yeah, hopefully we'll talk to you soon, because we got some watch-alongs to do, mate. Be great having you on again. I have to say, I actually missed the banter between the two of us. I actually missed the banter. I really do. But yeah, get in touch with us. I don't want to get emotional, so just get in touch with us if you can. Or if anybody out there knows him, please let us know if he's okay. We found the last stream. Melina actually threw up, gave us the photographs as well. I can't remember exactly the last one. I think he was on a panel for something we did anyway. But the last time I spoke to him was on the 9th of December. He actually wrote back to me because I was inviting him onto a panel, and he said he was fighting the coof. And I was like, he says he wasn't up to doing that, and I wished him the best and get well soon. And that was the last time I heard from him. And I've texted him nearly every day since, you know. I could show you the message, but it's a private conversation, so I'm not going to. But I've been sending him messages nearly every second day, hoping that I see that blue check mark. Because even if he reads them and he's not responding, I know he's all right. But it's still a grey check mark, and that's why I'm worried. Right, anyway. So we'll leave it there. Thank you. We still have 46 people watching. We had 60 people watching at one stage. So I want to say thank you to everybody that's tuned in. As I said, we'll be covering a lot of other stuff, not just Doctor Who. We have a few watch-alongs and all. As I said, we're going to be starting Cobra Kai very soon. Rick and Morty will be returning. We obviously will have our classic Who. Contact, I forgot to mention last night. Contact will be coming back as well. We have loads going on, and plenty of panels for people to come on. So if you haven't been on a panel, never been on a panel, and would like to be part of our journey in 2022, you're welcome. You're more than welcome to come on. As I said, I try to be as interactive as possible and bring all you guys on, and ladies. And it's nice to hear different opinions on the channel. So I'll leave it there. I'll say good night. Stay safe. Look after yourselves, folks. And as I said, Happy New Year. And we'll see you tomorrow at some stage. What day is it even tomorrow? Thursday? Wednesday? I've lost all track of reality, man. Actually, it's only Sunday. Jesus, it's a oh yeah, we'd normally be sitting here watching Doctor Who now, wouldn't we? Fuck's sake, man. Right, I'm off anyway. I'm gonna watch Cobra Kai now because I have to start season 3 and 4 before it gets spoiled for me now, because everybody's watched series 4 and people are itching. And I will say fair play to everybody out there before I leave. I've noticed lately that a lot of people are trying their best not to spoil stuff for anybody out there. And I have to say thank you, because there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people haven't seen, and you haven't ruined Ghostbusters Afterlife for people. I remember people were very tight-lipped about that. Same with Spider-Man No Way Home, and it's the same with Cobra Kai. A lot of people are being very, very understanding that people watch things at different times. So thank you for not spoiling it, because I can't wait to watch Series 3 and see what happens in Series 4. So I'll let you go. I'll say goodnight, and here's the title sequence. Bye-bye.